Welcome to another episode of Kai-Zen Consciousness. Today's topic is seeing it in and from the heart. Welcome, Ehnes here. This is Kai-Zen Consciousness, where you can learn to master your life from the inside out. I was watching a movie and one of the characters was trying to mentor another person in this scene and was trying to get them to really let their inner true self come and shine. So this character was trying to explain to this young student basically how to start to express themselves and find their voice. And he was showing some of his movements and he went into this zone, and the next thing you know is he's pointing at his heart and he says to the student, you know, you have to see it in here first, and then it'll come to life. Now, I was really taken by that moment, because what that tells me and confirms for me is that the heart is a very, very important place in our personal development. I mean, it should have been part of our natural MO in the first place. However, since we've gone for hundreds and hundreds of years into the mind and into the brain rather than the heart, we now have to learn this all over again. I have mentioned in prior videos the idea of heart-mind coherence. A wonderful place to look at is called the Heart Math Institute. They have done a tremendous job at looking deeper into this topic and coming up with all sorts of research, scientifically based, and they give all sorts of tips and tools of how to cultivate this for yourself. What I find absolutely amazing is that an entrainment takes place if you start with the heart. And science shows that the tests done on the frequencies of the heart and of the mind, they can actually entrain and sync up. By letting go and removing interferences, the electrical frequencies of the heart, when they start to take over, what happens is that the brain frequencies and the heart will start to sync up and line up. So what this is suggesting is that we let the heart become the starting place. So you find a quiet place and you start to let the heart beat and the frequency of the heart, which is magnetic in nature, start to resonate. And as it starts to do this, and you let go of the need to control things with the mind, the brain waves can now start to link up and sync up. And wonderful things start to begin to happen because you're driving the context from an inner place of love, contentment. If you study the great masters, what they have in common is that they have stumbled upon the idea that the universal frequency that we are wired for is love. And the heart already does this naturally. That's why we have so many sayings, that it's a matter of the heart. You know, I love you with all my heart. I mean, that's what this is all saying. You're not talking about the actual organ. You're talking about the frequency that vibrates naturally from this place. Now, let's go back to the beginning of this video where I gave you the example with the master and the student. The student is hitting all of their limitations and finding all sorts of confusion. And that's because the confusion comes from trying to solve the problem with the mind. Now, according to Einstein, you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness as where it was created. Now, how do you shift that consciousness to be able to solve the problem? And the answer is you tap into your heart space. Your heart space already intuitively knows which way to go in terms of trying to resolve this. And that is the different level of consciousness required to solve the problem that your current situation is giving you all these limitations in. The heart is not binary the same way that the brain and the mind is. So by not being binary, it's not bound by yes or no. Okay? It's almost limitless in that sense because it does not have these boundaries. And what we find is it can live in a paradox as well as in multiple levels of existence. And that's what happened in the example. The student learned to let go, found their own voice, and expressed themselves absolutely wonderfully according to their own inner true self. So if the student or anyone else can see it from in here, they can truly see it in here, they will immediately begin to feel that they are worthy. Now, I realize it's not always that simple and cut and dry. However, think about the breakthrough in any of your limitations you can achieve by no longer trying to control through the mind and answer. I mean, I look at it this way. A life lived from the heart is going to be a life that is going to allow you to feel fulfilled, and that is going to allow you to be truly happy. And one of the other videos that I mentioned, human needs, these are the highest level of human needs that we try to achieve. So once we all have the bottom layer of needs taken care of, we end up in this growth and fulfillment set, and this is exactly where we go. So if you want to live more often in this space of fulfillment, all you have to do really is learn to let the heart frequency abound and entrain with your mind so that you make heart-filled decisions, heart-filled interactions take place. So the logic of the mind is energized by the sensitivity of the heart. I bet that any great leader will have this worked out, even if it is unconsciously. Great leaders have this sense of balance. So here's an exercise I'd like to share. In the morning, when you first wake up, before you engage in the world, give yourself a couple minutes of time. Maybe set the alarm earlier, or just basically tell yourself to wake up 5 minutes before the alarm. And in that wonderful in-between space, when you first wake up, you can do some of this work. So here's what you do. You don't escalate the breath. Keep it nice and relaxed. And at that point, with that relaxation in place, you now tap into that heart frequency. You can put your hand over your heart if you want. However, let that heartbeat become something that you focus and meditate on, as it just keeps on coming and it keeps on going and it keeps on going, nice and steady. Next, you entrain your mind. You start to think along those levels, that certain beat that's taking place. The next thing you know, when you wake up, you will be more positive, you'll be more energized, you're going to make better decisions. And if you do this every day, eventually this is something you can do whenever you get frustrated. You can do it before you go to sleep. This is a wonderful technique to let the heart drive what is taking place in your life. By being more positive and attuned throughout your day, I want you to realize just how powerful your own transformation is going to be and how much fuller of a human being you will be. And remember that Kaizen principles support this. This is very small steps to get to the larger scale improvement. So thanks for watching another episode of Kai-Zen Consciousness, where the possibilities are endless.